Hey guys, welcome to Mad Scientist BBQ. I'm Jeremy Yoder, and today I'm going to answer a question I get all the time, basically every single day. And that question is, what are the best smokers for beginners? Now, to keep things simple and give you a list, because I like lists, I'm going to give you the top 5 smokers that I recommend for beginners. Now, this list is not the top 5 greatest smokers of all time. It's not even the top 5 smokers I use most often. Right behind me is the one I use most often. It's a 500-gallon custom-built offset smoker. And for most people who are just beginning, that is the wrong answer. So this list is going to be things that are affordable, that are effective, and that are easy to use. Let's start off with number 5, the Weber Kettle. Now, these things are everywhere, and if you're just wanting to dip your toes in the water of barbecue, well, a Weber Kettle is a great place to start. Number 1, it's not that expensive. You're not going to have to spend 10 grand on a Weber Kettle. Number 2, they're fairly easy to use. So you dial in the vent on the top, you dial in the vent on the bottom, and you get your fuel set in place, and you can use it to cook barbecue. You can also use it to grill. It's not that heavy. It's just a very, very good way to get your introduction to barbecue without having to get a dedicated smoker or spend a lot of money. It's just a great entry point for barbecue. Now, it doesn't make the world's greatest barbecue, but it can make very, very good barbecue, certainly a lot better than you can get at most restaurants across the country. And one final point about the Weber Kettle is there are so many accessories, it is mind-boggling. So there are a lot that are used specifically for barbecue. I'm thinking of one, I don't remember the name right now, but it's got kind of a water trough in the middle, and then it's a divider that separates the hot side from the cool side of the kettle, and you can use the cool side for indirect cooking, low and slow barbecue, and then you could use it for, say, reverse sear on a steak. You bring it up slowly to temperature and then sear it directly over the coals. It is incredibly versatile. There are so many accessories. I don't even know them all. There's rotisserie. There's probably something that will even launch you into space if you want to look for one of those. There are a lot. That's the point. So a great place to start is a Weber Kettle. All right, number 4 on my list is the Green Mountain Grill's Daniel Boone. It's not too expensive. It's about 500 bucks, and the control system works really well. It's a good pellet smoker. Now, it's not going to be the Rolls Royce of pellet smokers, but it's not a dog either. It's something that will work well, and you don't have to spend too much money. Now, the reason I included a pellet smoker on here is because ease of use is incredibly important, especially if you're just starting to get into barbecue. Maybe you feel intimidated, you don't want to get in there and manage a fire, you don't want to have to deal with lighting charcoal or anything like that, you don't want to have the fear of runaway temperature spikes. What you get with a pellet smoker is peace of mind and ease of use. So you're probably going to get better smoke flavor with other smokers on this list, but if you're just trying to get into barbecue, you're not trying to, make the world's greatest brisket of all time and go compete with Aaron Franklin for the championship of brisket, a pellet grill is a great choice. Also, when you're at work, a lot of them have kind of a Wi-Fi connection, so you can see what's going on with your brisket in the smoker. You can see what temperature the pit is. It's just a very easy and convenient way to do barbecue, and it will allow you to experiment with different rubs and seasonings, things that you like or don't like. You can kind of get it dialed in, and if you find that you've been bitten by the barbecue bug and you just want to cook barbecue all the time, well, then you can upgrade to something more expensive, maybe just a top-of-the-line pellet smoker. Maybe you want to get a custom offset, but at that point, you know that you've been making great food for a long time on that thing, and you know how to make great barbecue. Then I would say it's time to upgrade. Number 3, the Old Country Barbecue Pit's Pecos. This is an offset smoker. Now, that means it's not going to be that easy to run. Another issue is the smaller the offset smoker, the harder it is to keep consistent temperatures. So it might seem counterintuitive, but it's actually much easier to run this 500-gallon pit than it is to run a small offset. So the degree of difficulty is a little high for an introductory pit. But for those people who are enticed by the idea of having a real fire burning real wood, and that's what you want to do when making barbecue, I would say this is a great place to start because it's not too expensive. And my backyard pit, the Old Country Brazos right there, is essentially the exact same smoker, but made with thicker metal. But it also comes with an increase in price. So what you get with the Pecos is relatively easy to use, and it's well enough constructed that it's not going to fall apart. It's not going to be like one of those Chinese-made sheet metal smokers that are really difficult to use well. But you get something that will work, and if you're diligent about managing the fire, the Pecos will provide a better smoke flavor than you can get on any of the other smokers on this list. All right, number 2, we have the pit barrel cooker. Now, these cookers are incredibly easy to use. if you just follow the instructions, you're going to be able to make pretty darn good barbecue, because it's a kind of a set it and forget it type of thing. You're not adjusting vents all over the place. You're not worried about runaway temperature spikes. It is just simply a way to cook barbecue without having to worry. And you actually are using a real fire. You're not worried about a pellet smoker. You don't have to plug it in anywhere. It's just using charcoal and wood chunks. And because of that, it produces really, really good flavor. Now, the pit barrel cooker isn't going to be the fanciest smoker in the whole world. But what it does give you is ease of use. It gives you a low price tag. And then the thing that's most important to me is it gives you great flavor. So in comparison to most pellet smokers and things that use propane or electricity to do the cooking, the flavor you get on a pit barrel cooker is going to be phenomenal. And I would wager that you can cook barbecue with one of those about as well as any restaurant in the country that's not, you know, in Austin or Kansas City or Memphis. Most of the places that you're going to go to, I'd say 98% of all the barbecue joints that I've ever been to don't make barbecue that's as good as what you can make on one of those. Next, we have our honorable mention, and this is the Kamado Joe. Now, it didn't make the list. It's not because it's not good. It's simply because it's very expensive in comparison to the other smokers that we have on this list. Now, you could spend a heck of a lot more on smokers, but for a beginner who's just getting a first smoker, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this unless they just have the money lying around, in which case it's a great choice. So with the Kamado Joe, you get a very efficient smoker. Because it's ceramic, it doesn't use a bunch of fuel. You don't have to worry about breaking the bank, going to buy charcoal and wood chunks. It's not going to use that much fuel. More importantly, I think, is that it's incredibly versatile. You can get that thing up to 800 degrees if you want to, and just sear the heck out of steaks if you need. You can do it low and slow, cooking at 225 degrees for a long time. You can use it for myriad different purposes. Also, they have about as many accessories for the Kamado Joe as they do for the Weber kettle. You can install a rotisserie. You can do all kinds of things with the Kamado Joe. I would say it's probably the most versatile pit that I know of. It's really, really good. If you have the money, go for it. Now, downsides, of course, are the price, and also it's very, very heavy. So unlike the Weber kettle, it's going to have some heft, and you're going to have to put in some effort to move it around. But if you have open space, you have the cash, and you want to go for something like that, it's a great choice, but it just doesn't make the list. Finally, number one, the Weber Smoky Mountain. There has probably been more barbecue cooked on Weber Smoky Mountains than anything else on the list, except for maybe the Weber kettle. There might be more briskets that have been cooked on a Weber kettle than any other smoker, period, just simply because they are everywhere. But the Weber Smoky Mountain is a dedicated smoker. So it's not something you use to grill. It's not something that you would use for steaks or anything like that. It is specifically for smoking. That's why it's called the Weber Smoky Mountain. And it's a bullet smoker. A side benefit is it doesn't take up a whole bunch of space. Also, it doesn't weigh a lot, so it's easy to move around. But here's the thing. It cooks phenomenal barbecue because it produces great flavor. Now, if you don't know what this is, the way it's set up is essentially you put charcoal and wood chunks in the bottom. There's a water pan that goes over that, and then you have 2 racks. So you could cook 2 briskets, or you could cook a few racks of ribs and then a pork butt on top of that. Whatever you want to do, it has a small footprint but cooks a lot of food. And then if you just dial in your vents, then you can walk away for hours and not have to worry about what's happening to your barbecue. There are also a ton of accessories where you can, install a probe, and then there's an automatic fan that feeds in air to make sure the temperature stays rock steady right where you want it. It is a very convenient way to see if you want to get into the process of barbecue. And all those reasons are why I often recommend the Weber Smoky Mountain as the best choice for a first smoker, unless you're willing to spend a whole lot more. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed the list. I really like lists, and I hope you guys do too. If you want to see more of them, just leave a comment down below. Tell me what kind of list you want, and I'll try to break those down for you and put out some more videos. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button down below, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You can also turn the notification bell on so you get notified every time I put out a new video. Finally, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mad Scientist BBQ. I'll see you guys next time.